Kurt, thank you very much for joining the Grace Curley Show.
Hey, Grace, how are you doing?
I'm good. So your latest column, Trump moves out of the White House and into their heads. Let's go over exactly how that happened. And what I love about this column is you talk about how people are getting woke, and not in the traditional sense. They're kind of getting woke to just how bad the Democrats are. Can you break down some of the reasons?
Well, look, it's not just the Democrats, Grace. It's the entire establishment that has created kind of this two-tier system. If you're part of the in crowd, whether you're a hedge fund manager or in the media or a left-leaning government employee, you have special rules and rights and regulations. Everybody else, we're destined to lose. If you start making money in the stock market, they stop letting you buy stock. If you are accused of violating the law, they charge you, but they don't charge their people. If you want to speak, you're causing insurrection. If they want to speak, they're speaking truth to power. It's all a lie. It's all a scam, and people are getting tired of it. It is unsustainable, particularly when the ruling caste that orchestrates this nonsense is so inept, so incompetent, so corrupt, and so unbelievably arrogant for no reason.
And you also, Kirk, you mentioned that left to their own devices, the establishment fails, and how the spotlight here has been off of Trump for just enough time to kind of expose some of those failings. Do you think that's a big reason why they want to bring back Trump for this impeachment?
Of course. That's the whole thing. You know, I think they thought it was a genius move to take Trump off Twitter. Trump doesn't care. He's out golfing. Then he goes home to his hot model wife and his $1 billion. You think he cares? Suddenly, now the spotlight falls on them. Suddenly you're asking, hey, why did at a stroke of the pen did President Asterisk put 50,000 Americans out of a job, you know, on the Keystone Pipeline in order to suck up to a bunch of blue state weather-worshipping pagans? Everything they're doing is bad. Everything they're doing is wrong. Just today, you know, that Raggedy Ann got up and said, yeah, even after you get your vaccine, you're going to have to wear your mask forever. It's like I was reliably informed that COVID was going to be cured the day after that desiccated zombie was inaugurated.
Right.
Everything's a lie and a scam, and they can't hide it anymore. Because there's no Trump to hide behind.
If people want to check out this article, it's at Town Hall, and Kurt breaks down all of these. He says, how many got woke when COVID suddenly started to vanish the second it stopped being useful? How many will get woke when their $1,400 check, not $2,000 check, arrives? I just have to say, though, does it ever, and maybe I'm wrong on this, because I'm happy people are getting woke to this, but it frustrates me a little bit that it has to hit people so close to home for them to figure out what's going on.
Well, don't blame them too much, Grace, because America is based on consent. And it's based on consent because for a long time, while it wasn't perfect, we had a general idea that, you know, the playing field might not be perfectly level, but it's pretty level. If you play by the rules, you're going to be okay. If you've got rights, they're going to be generally enforced. It's not always going to be perfect, and there's going to be problems. But in general, if you do the right thing, you're going to be okay. And that's why we consider, you know, our default is the government's legitimate. Here's my test. Drive around at 3 a.m. When I go host for Hugh Hewitt, I drive around at 3 a.m. And you go to a stop sign, and you stop. And other people, if you see any, they stop too. Why? There's no cars coming. Well, because that's the rule, and we presume our rules are legitimate because we had a say in making them, and they're applied evenly. But what happens when that stops? What happens when you stop feeling everything's legitimate? That's the way most countries are. I spent a lot of time overseas, and people spent a lot of time because they just didn't consider them, you know, they had investment in them. They were just imposed. It wasn't consent of the governed. Most of us obey our rules. Taxes are essentially voluntary.
Right.
There's a few people who get audited, but you know, if you didn't want to pay, you wouldn't. And yet, every year I write huge checks, like everybody else, to pay my taxes, and I try really hard to do it exactly right. I try not to pay more than I have to, but I don't pay less. And it's because, you know, our default is things are legitimate. It's our government. I had a part in making it. I can accept when there are rules that I don't particularly like, as long as they don't violate the Constitution, because sometimes I'm going to lose, but I've got a chance to make my case, and maybe I can change things. What happens when none of that's true? Then you've got no investment in it. That's not legitimate anymore.
And Kurt, one thing I want you to break down for people exactly why this impeachment is such a sham, and why, from a legal standpoint, I mean, there's just it's not even they have no case to make here. But what I really loved about your piece, because I hadn't thought about it until now, a lot of people think that the only reason they're doing this is so Trump can't run again. And what you bring up is they're trying to take the decision on whether Trump should ever be president out of the hands of the people, and that's going to further get people woke, as you say. Tell us about that, like people's reactions to being told that the government knows better.
Well, that's first of all, I think it's a strategic disaster for the opponents of Trump to do this. First of all, they're almost certainly not going to win the impeachment, which means Trump is, in the minds of most voters, exonerated. That is, he didn't do it. He won. Say they do win. They keep the Republicans from nominating a guy who many people are tired of, and who 50% of America will vote against no matter what. So throw us in that briar patch. Donald Trump's got a lot. People could change their minds over the next 4 years because President Asterisk is so terrible. But the fact is, right now, you've got about 50% of people who will never vote for Trump. So that makes him a weak candidate. As much as I like him, you got to rigorously assess these things. So I think it's a strategic disaster. But yes, it's wholly undemocratic. Why are they taking upon themselves to decide who we can and can't elect as president? I mean, I would never vote for Ilhan Omar, but I don't want her thrown out because her constituents voted for her, and it's their choice. And I think it should be the American people's choice. Even if, even when it's someone I don't like, as long as the election's fair, which I don't think the last one was. But it's just a disaster. And the impeachment itself is terrible. First of all, it's procedurally flawed. You can't impeach somebody who's out of office. And I see all these hack law professors bending over backwards and breaking their spines trying to figure out a way to throw someone out of office who's not in office, simply because they want to deny the American people the right to choose who they want as president. That's terrible. And substantively, I actually read the little indictment, and it's ridiculous. Trump said his followers should go fight for him. Well, what politician doesn't say that? That's the disqualifier. There's lots of people who are disqualified. Or are we doing the double standard thing again? As far as incitement, it's not incitement under the law. I am a First Amendment lawyer. I've dealt with First Amendment cases. The exceptions to the First Amendment are so narrow, it's almost not worth talking about, although that's all they do, trying to figure out a way they could shut their opponents up. They literally want to impeach the president for saying things they don't approve of. It's obnoxious. It's stupid. It's bad strategy, and it shows their weakness because they want to keep talking about Donald Trump. Why do you want to talk about Donald Trump? Because they don't want people talking about them.
Exactly. And guys, I'm talking to Kurt Schlichter from Town Hall. His newest novel, Crisis, is out. Everyone should read it. He has several novels, though, and several books you can look into. Kurt, I want to play a sound cut for you before I let you go and get your reaction. I mean, like everything you just said, it's absolutely ridiculous. The Democrats, they are constantly just, screaming that the sky is falling, running around like chickens with their heads cut off. So nothing they say means much anymore. But I do have to play this for you because I haven't played it yet today, and I can't think of someone better to get a reaction from. This is Maxine Waters, cut 6.
Following the President of the United States of America, who had advanced planning about the invasion that took place in our capital. And even there's information that some of the planning came out of individuals working in his campaign. As a matter of fact, he absolutely should be charged with premeditated murder because of the lives that were lost with this invasion, with this insurrection.
Kurt, what is your reaction to that?
Well, I happened to serve in the Army during the what that bozo called a rebellion, the Los Angeles riots. I was physically there. I have seen what she did. I have seen a real riot. She is scum. She is a fool. She is corrupt, and she is the perfect poster child for the Democrat Party. She can, well, I won't remain FCC compliant, but all I can say is pucker up, Maxine, and I'll bend over.
Kurt Schlichter, thank you so much for being with us. Kurt, where can people find you on Twitter?
At Kurt Schlichter. Also go to my locals community, the Schlichter Arena, at Kurt Schlichter on locals.com. And we've got our little group there, and we do a lot of fun stuff, and it's all things Kurt.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And everyone should check out that column by Kirk. He really does break down exactly why this is all going to backfire on the Democrats. And I love that title, Trump Moves Out of the White House and Into Their Heads. Because as Kirk points out, he's a real estate genius, and this is the most real estate he's ever owned. I mean, it's just a thing of beauty. Guys, February is recognized as American Heart Month, but talking about supporting heart health is not enough. Nearly half of all U.S. adults have heart health concerns. This could be anything, blood pressure. A lot of people are stressed out right now. I understand that. I have people in my family who have had blood pressure concerns, and you want to do something that you can keep up with and that actually helps. That is why you should be taking SuperBeets Heart Chews daily. Just 2 SuperBeets Heart Chews per day give you the cardiovascular support and promote the heart-healthy energy you need every day. SuperBeets Heart Chews combines non-GMO beets and clinically researched grapeseed extract, shown to be 2 times as effective at supporting normal blood pressure than a healthy lifestyle alone. It's easy. They're pre-wrapped. I'm holding up this bag, and you can tell how heavy it is. They give you so many of these little beets. They're kind of like Starburst. They're very yummy, but they work. They make you feel good. They get the circulation running, and it's just a good thing. It's an easy way to be healthier every single day, and it doesn't take a lot of effort. So if you're lazy like me, you're really going to like this. Now, when you buy a bag of SuperBeets Heart Chews, you can get a second for 50% off, plus free shipping when you make your purchase at getsuperbeets.com/grace. That's getsuperbeets.com/grace. Getsuperbeets.com/grace. When we get back, I'm going to pick our Aviva Trattoria winner, but I'm also going to play you a little bit more sound, and I think we should talk a little bit about the Nobel Peace Prize, because I got some good news that you guys might like. Don't go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
You're listening to The Grace Curley Show.